You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. You want me to? I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
That is Director of the FBI, Kash Patel, as well as Second Chud in Command, Dan Bongino, both saying he killed himself. And you can take that to the bank because they were chosen for this position from a country of more than 300 million people because there are no two people more loyal to Trump. And nothing else. There's really no other qualifications for this position, particularly Bongino. But anyway, I don't necessarily buy anything they say, but in this case, MAGA's way more not buying what they have to say. They don't like at all this little interview with Maria Bartiromo that they did. Dan Bongino actually put out a tweet in advance of this saying, I haven't done any media interviews because I want to keep the attention on the work. I don't work for myself anymore. I work for you. Ugh. But it's important to relay to you what we're doing, blah, blah, blah. We do this interview. We're moving the FBI out of the Hoover building. I don't care. I was asked about some of the details surrounding the Jeffrey Epstein case. I have reviewed the case. Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. There's no evidence in the case file indicating otherwise. I'm not asking you to believe me or not. I'm telling you what exists and what doesn't. If new evidence surfaces, I'm happy to reevaluate. And as I said, they're not happy about this. Summer Soldier says, you're a liar, Kash. Epstein didn't kill himself. Should be ashamed of yourself. You're as bad as all the other government gangsters. The entire FBI should be disbanded. And that sentiment only grows as you tyrants continue to behave like this traitor. And Seahorse says, I was shocked by what I saw almost as much as I was by your answers. Who has bought the both of you? Your answers about Epstein, J6, and Crossfire Hurricane. I didn't know they rebooted that old game. I loved that when I was a kid. Are the exact opposite of your positions over the past several years. Unbelievable. And it kind of goes on from there. And so look, do I have access to the evidence? I don't have access to the evidence. Is it possible that he killed himself? Sure, it's possible he killed himself. But there was also really suspicious stuff. So I get why people don't necessarily trust him, even MAGA people. Because look, they're predisposed, I think, to want to believe someone like a Kash Patel or a Dan Bongino, but they both know that they're chuckleheads who don't know what they're doing. So there's not like a lot of deep competence that can sort of buy some credibility. And the thing is, it's Trump, and Trump has been connected to Epstein. So is there potentially a reason that he'd want to cover this thing up? I think Trump more than most politicians. I will remind everyone, and this was on the John Oliver show this last week, when Trump was asked about declassifying the Epstein documents, the answer they saw on Fox was, yes, I will. But the answer he gave was yes. Well, maybe not so much because, you can't always trust that stuff. And so is there potentially something he's trying to, again, I don't have any evidence that he's trying to cover anything up, but he chose people based on loyalty and loyalty alone. And so if there was something to be covered up, do you think they'd reveal that out of principles and because they serve you? No, I don't know why you would believe these two guys. But JR, what do you make?
There's no reason to, but also, listen, so MAGA's upset over this. And I wonder where the thought process goes. Like, enough people don't finish the thought. That's what I always say. If someone's saying something and they're hinting at it, make them finish saying it. So even, I know these are just tweets from folks who generally would support these guys. So, why do you think that they're covering? Why do you think they're possibly lying about the same thing you were up in arms about what previous administration was lying about him killing himself? Why would they? Because before they were covering up for Joe Biden and Bill and Hillary Clinton and every Democrat that you can think of. So now they're still covering for those same people that you hate. Could there be someone else that they're covering up for? Possibly, who knows, maybe. And even if he did kill himself, how come we still haven't seen all this info that they said they're gonna give up on? Again, as you point out, John, that this now president, but at the time former president, was talking about how he would totally declassify everything that they cut out of that Fox and Friends interview. Weird though, I keep hearing about how the legacy media, like 60 Minutes, likes to cut out pieces of interviews in order to cover for a particular presidential candidate, and maybe it's journalistic malpractice, and we should maybe get the FCC on it and make sure that those folks lose their licenses and they can't broadcast anymore. We hear all this stuff, but it never finishes talking about the guys that they love doing it. So if you're mad at Dan Bongino and his hairline, and if you're also mad at Kash Patel and how he's looking both directions at the same time, you might want to figure out why they're covering for a guy who didn't want to do what he said he's gonna do when he promised that to you. And just one last thought about it. Why? Just ask yourselves why, because you're very upset. So try and figure out why.
I just said that interview was just so like it's so frustrating as a person who wants things to matter and for people to think and reality to be a thing. Trump was asked like rapid fire, will you declassify the 9/11 documents? He's like, yeah. Will you declassify this? Yes. JFK? Yes. Epstein? Yes. Well, maybe less so. And then he goes on, like it couldn't be more obvious. All that other stuff is fine. Why not the Epstein thing? Sometimes you can't trust what's in that. What does he think is in that that he doesn't want people to trust? Again, by the way, I don't think we're ever gonna know. I don't think we're ever gonna get any clarification on this. And again, it doesn't mean, I'm not stating that he did something, but he is indicating in all the ways you can with body language, with his actions, and with his statements, he's acting as you would if you knew that you could be implicated in there. And so, again, I love that MAGA in this particular case is pushing back. Although, as JR points out, like there's an extra couple layers of analysis and critical thought that I think would be really useful in this case. I would love to see it, but I'm not sure that we're going to. And it's just funny how they've been dragging this out. Like they've been talking about these Epstein files this entire time. Pam Bondi keeps doing interviews about it. Like, will this be the thing that gets a significant chunk of MAGA to be like, I don't trust these people? I wonder. Because it was the right that stoked all this Epstein stuff. And we always thought that was strange because Trump was so wrapped up in the entire thing. It was definitely a danger, like it was very shaky territory. So we're gonna be watching it, we'll see. Anyway, with that said, we're gonna move on to other news in just a sec. First though, really fast, Rye Spy JR says in a super chat, hi John, I'm gonna be a new father on Halloween. Top 3 tips? JR first, do you have any tips for Rye Spy on fatherdom?
I give brand new fathers the same advice every time. Your wife just went through all this. You had a kid, and I say take the night shift if you can. Even if say she's breastfeeding or something, and you guys go that direction. At least get the kid and take the kid to her. Like it's gonna twofold. Obviously, your wife doesn't have to do as much, considering she has to do that type of that part of the shift. But also, your kid, the bond you'll make with your kid just from being there in those moments, it pays tenfold as your kid grows up. That's just my one experience. I only got one.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. I think that's great. I would say,
because a lot of fathers they don't do that, but it's okay. I'm sure plenty do, but it's a bit.
Yeah, try if you can. I actually kind of like, I have a little bit of weird nostalgia for the night shifts or whatever. But also I would say it gets better. It's gonna be very hard and you're gonna be very tired. And man, there were some periods, but like babies do change constantly. Like you have like a week or two of this is what it's like, and then it's this, and sleep is like that, and feedings are like that. And it really does change. So don't get too overwhelmed and believe that, oh, this is what the next 4 years are gonna be like. It's gonna be this hard. Well, yes, it is, but not in that way. It's gonna be really hard in many different ways, back to back to back to back, okay? What else? I don't know. Hold on to your butt, I guess.
Yeah, just be prepared to, sometimes not shower for 2 days,
Exactly. Some of us don't anyway. If you enjoyed that, make sure that you never miss another video by subscribing. And if you want a little more, consider hitting the join button and becoming an actual member. But you're probably wondering, why the hell would I do that, John? First off, calm down. The stakes in this are very, very low. But also, when you click the join button and you become a member, you get access to bonus content that I make every week, and it's a ton of fun. You get access to tons of custom emojis and more besides that.
By the way, if you join at tier 3, you even get access to a monthly member hangout with myself and other awesome people, and we always have a great time. By the way, you'll get all that going forward, but you also unlock years of the back catalog. That is literally 100 or more bonus clips, top 10 lists, debates, and more. What are you waiting for? Click the join button below. Your support powers our show, and we couldn't do it without you. Or at the very least, I wouldn't really want to try. Viewers like you keep me here. So thank you in advance for joining.